Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of May 23rd. Our meeting on Monday night featured an update from Bonnie Carlson, President and CEO of the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau. The Convention and Visitors Bureau, or the CVB, is the official marketing organization of the City of Bloomington hospitality industry. The stated purpose of the CVB is to inspire travelers to visit Bloomington, and their overriding goal is to maximize economic impact to Bloomington by driving hotel stays. I've talked about the importance of the Bloomington hospitality industry in the past. Bloomington has 47 hotels and just under 10,000 rooms, and the city collects a 7% lodging tax whenever someone rents a room. Prior to the pandemic, lodging and admissions taxes from entertainment brought in about $10 million to the city's general fund each and every year. When we talk about the general fund, we're really talking about the fund that directly relates to property taxes. Now, since the pandemic, that number has been significantly lower, and it has had an impact on the Bloomington General Fund budget. But as Bonnie told us on Monday evening, hospitality is starting to bounce back. And when I say bounce back, there was a lot of bouncing that needed to be done after the pandemic. Take a look at this. In 2019, the hotel occupancy rate in Bloomington was at 72%, 6% higher than the national rate. When the pandemic hit, the occupancy rate predictably plummeted. It went to 33.5% in 2020. It rose to about 47.5% last year, and it's forecast to be at about 58.4% this year. Here it is on a chart. You can see the dramatic drop-off in 2020 as the pandemic hit and halted all travel. The yellow line is where Bloomington hotels are this year. Things are much better, and we're getting closer to the 2019 occupancy rate, which is the top line here in blue. Another important measure is the average daily rate, which shows what people are paying to stay in the area hotels. The average daily rate was as high as $123 in 2019. It dropped to $87 in 2020, but the forecast for this year is $111. That number is important in the context of the 7% lodging tax that customers pay when they stay in Bloomington hotels. That money then goes into the city's general fund, which helps keep your property taxes low. The hospitality industry took the brunt of the impact of COVID-19, and all credit to the hotels, bars, and restaurants in Bloomington that found a way to survive. Well done. In her presentation, Bonnie outlined the Convention and Visitors Bureau's marketing plan for 2022, and it spans across several different markets. Obviously, the leisure market is very important. The CVB is focusing their efforts this summer on family travel and empty nester getaways. Their research shows that despite the cost of gas and inflation in general, people are determined to travel this summer. Travelers say they plan to spend less, but they are still committed to traveling. People, they're tired of being cooped up. Another big market is group travel, specifically business meetings and conferences. We heard on Monday that this market has been slow to return, and it's an important market, and the travel industry is hopeful that the days of big meetings and conventions returns very soon. Another very big and evolving market is the market of youth and amateur sports. The youth sports market is huge. When a team comes to the Twin Cities for a soccer tournament in Blaine or a volleyball tournament in downtown Minneapolis, the families that travel with that team, they like to stay in Bloomington. And the CVB works to make sure that they do. And the electronic sports industry, or esports, is booming right now. It's similar to the traditional sports tournaments you might think of, but it's all virtual. And they like to stay here in Bloomington. And it's not just the youth events. Mega events are also a big part of this sports marketing strategy. Back in 2020, the CVB, along with Meet Minneapolis and Visit St. Paul, created an organization called Minnesota Sports and Events to work to attract big events like a Super Bowl or the Final Four. This type of regional nonprofit is common in most states, and it's an absolute necessity to attract big events. Minnesota Sports and Events has been on a number of world-class events for future years, and they're starting to see some impressive successes. That list of events coming to the Twin Cities includes the Special Olympics in 2026, the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament in 2023 and 2024, the Big Ten Men's Basketball Tourney in 2024, and the 2029 Ryder Cup. Now, these mega events aren't just the big television spectacles you might expect. The group also landed the 2023 USA Girls Volleyball Championships and the 2025 USA Boys Volleyball Championships. These are championship tournaments for kids aged 11 to 13, and both events are expected to generate at least 30,000 room nights in Twin Cities hotels. And just to whet your appetite, the group is still waiting to hear on bids for the Big Ten Football Championship in 2023 or 24, both the NCAA men's and women's Final Four for any year between 2027 and 2031, and the 2031 Rugby World Cup. Again, the actual games would be played in stadiums outside of Bloomington, but a good chunk of people who come to these events will stay right here in Bloomington. The final important marketing audience is international travelers. After 2 long years, the international travel market is starting to come back. Delta resumed service to London in April and expects to resume service to Seoul, South Korea in late October. Air Canada announced a new route between the Twin Cities and Montreal. Condor, which is a German airline, will relaunch early this summer, and Iceland Air will begin flight service either in late summer or early fall of this year. And one final thing that Bonnie highlighted, and I wanted to be sure to mention, earlier this month, the Convention and Visitors Bureau hosted the 24th annual Diamond Service Awards. The Diamond Service Awards honor the frontline service personnel in the Bloomington hospitality industry. From the best van driver, to the best dishwasher, to the best bartender, the awards celebrate all the people who enhance Bloomington's reputation as a welcoming, world-class visitor destination. No other market in the U.S. does this type of award ceremony. Only the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau does this. Thanks for doing it. Finally today, this weekend is of course Memorial Day weekend. No matter how you plan to celebrate this weekend, please take just a minute to remember that the tradition of Memorial Day dates back to 1868, when General John A. Logan called for a nationwide day of remembrance to pay tribute to those who gave their lives by serving our country. The first Memorial Day was observed on May 30th, 1868, when flowers were placed at the graves of soldiers buried at Arlington National Cemetery. From this simple act of remembrance has come a nationwide tribute of respect for heroism and the patriotism of our nation's fallen soldiers. Please remember them this weekend. That'll do it for this week's Council Minute. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, Bloomington.